One of the clearest signs that a man's feelings are genuine during intimacy is the way he focuses on emotional connection instead of treating the moment as only physical. Because when love is real, intimacy becomes more than attraction. Presence, trust, a feeling that goes beyond desire and touches something much deeper inside both people. A man who truly loves you does not approach intimacy in a cold or emotionally detached way. His energy feels different, slower, more intentional, more emotionally connected. He is not simply focused on satisfying his own desires or rushing through the experience. Instead, he pays attention to the emotional atmosphere between you. You can feel it in the way he looks at you. There is genuine affection in his eyes, not just physical attraction. He is emotionally present in the moment with you, instead of mentally distant or distracted. Eye contact becomes meaningful because he is not only seeing your body, he is emotionally connected to you as a person. And that emotional presence creates a completely different feeling of intimacy, because genuine love creates emotional safety. When a man truly cares, he naturally wants you to feel comfortable, valued, and emotionally secure around him. He notices your emotions. He notices your energy. He wants intimacy to feel mutual and emotionally fulfilling instead of selfish or emotionally empty. That tenderness becomes visible in small details. The way he touches you gently, the patience in his energy, the way he checks in emotionally without always needing words. And what makes this powerful is that you never feel like an object around him. You feel appreciated as a human being with emotions, vulnerability, and depth. Genuine love naturally creates respect inside intimate moments because emotional connection matters to him just as much as physical attraction does. He wants closeness, not just access. That is an important difference, because physical desire alone can create passion temporarily. But genuine emotional connection creates warmth. It creates comfort, the feeling that someone truly values your presence emotionally, not only physically. And when love is real, intimacy often feels calmer, deeper, and more emotionally meaningful because there is sincerity behind the affection. You notice it in the way he pays attention to you emotionally. He listens to your comfort. He responds to your energy. He wants the experience to feel connected instead of emotionally disconnected. There is patience in his behavior because genuine affection naturally makes someone more emotionally aware of how you feel in the moment. And afterward, the emotional closeness still remains. A man who truly loves you does not suddenly become emotionally distant. The intimacy continues because the emotional bond was always the most important part for him. The physical moments simply became an extension of the emotional connection already existing between you. That is why genuine love feels different. You leave the experience feeling emotionally calm instead of emotionally confused, valued instead of used, safe instead of uncertain. Because when someone's feelings are sincere, intimacy strengthens emotional closeness instead of creating emotional emptiness afterward. And perhaps the most powerful part is this. Real love reveals itself through consistency, not just passionate words in the moment, but emotional attentiveness, before, during, and after intimacy. The way he protects your comfort, the way he respects your vulnerability, the way he remains emotionally connected instead of emotionally unavailable once the physical moment passes. Because when a man's love is genuine, intimacy never feels like he is simply taking something from you. It feels like he is emotionally connecting with you in one of the most honest and vulnerable ways possible. One of the strongest signs of genuine love during intimacy is the way a man pays attention to your comfort, your emotions, and your overall experience instead of focusing only on his own desires. Because when feelings are real, intimacy stops being selfish. It becomes mutual, thoughtful, emotionally aware. A man who truly cares about you naturally wants you to feel safe, respected, comfortable, and emotionally connected throughout the experience. You can feel the difference immediately in his energy. He is patient with you, attentive to your emotions, aware of your comfort level without needing everything to be explained constantly. He notices your body language, your mood, your reactions, and your emotional state because his focus is not only physical satisfaction. It is making sure you feel emotionally secure and cared for too. That emotional sensitivity says a lot about the depth of his feelings. Because real love creates consideration naturally. A man who genuinely values you does not treat intimacy as something he is entitled to or something that revolves entirely around his needs. Instead, he becomes more emotionally present and intentional. He wants the experience to feel comfortable and meaningful for both of you, not rushed, pressured, or emotionally disconnected. And that care often shows up in small moments. The way he checks in with you without making it feel forced. The way he notices if you seem uncomfortable or emotionally distant. The way he slows down instead of becoming careless or impatient. Those details matter because they reveal emotional maturity and genuine concern for your well-being. See, when someone's feelings are shallow, intimacy can feel emotionally empty even if there is physical attraction. But when love is sincere, emotional awareness becomes part of the connection naturally. He wants you to feel emotionally safe enough to be vulnerable around him. And emotional safety is powerful because true intimacy is not only physical closeness. It is emotional trust. It is the ability to feel respected, valued, and emotionally protected in vulnerable moments. A man who genuinely loves you understands that your emotions matter just as much as the physical experience itself. That is why communication feels different too. He listens, he pays attention. He cares about what makes you comfortable emotionally, not only what satisfies him physically. There is mutual respect in the way he approaches intimacy because your experience matters to him sincerely. And perhaps the most important part is this. You never feel pressured to perform or become someone else to keep his attention. When love is genuine, there is acceptance in his energy, patience, emotional warmth. You feel seen as a person, not treated like an object meant to fulfill temporary desire. That emotional care creates a deeper level of trust because his actions consistently show consideration for your feelings. Meanwhile, this attentiveness often extends beyond intimacy itself. A man who genuinely loves you does not suddenly stop caring once the physical moment ends. His emotional awareness continues afterward too. He remains affectionate, calm, attentive, and emotionally connected because his feelings were never only physical in the first place. And that consistency matters deeply because anyone can create temporary passion, but genuine love reveals itself through emotional behavior, through kindness, through patience, through the way someone protects your comfort instead of ignoring it. That is what creates real emotional closeness. Not intensity alone, but feeling emotionally safe enough to trust someone with your vulnerability because their actions repeatedly show care, respect, and emotional maturity. Because when a man truly loves you, intimacy is never only about what he feels. It is also about making sure you feel valued, protected, and emotionally cared for in every moment shared together. One of the most beautiful signs of genuine love during intimacy is the way a man makes you feel wanted beyond just physical attraction. Because real love is never limited to desire alone. Physical attraction may create the initial spark, but genuine emotional connection creates something much deeper, something that makes you feel valued as a person, not just desired for your appearance or your body. You can feel the difference in the way he treats you before intimacy even begins. His affection is not only physical. There is emotional warmth in his words, his attention, and his behavior. He compliments more than your appearance. He appreciates your energy, your personality, your presence, the way you make him feel emotionally. And because of that, intimacy feels emotionally connected instead of shallow or temporary. That emotional reassurance matters more than many people realize, because anyone can express physical attraction in a moment of passion. But genuine love makes someone want you emotionally too. He enjoys talking to you, being close to you, laughing with you, understanding you. The physical connection becomes an extension of emotional closeness instead of replacing it. And when love is real, you feel emotionally chosen, Not just physically desired for a short moment, but genuinely appreciated as someone meaningful in his life. You notice it in the way he looks at you when there is no reason to perform or impress. You notice it in the affection that continues outside intimate moments, the small touches, the emotional attentiveness, the way he naturally tries to make you feel loved and secure, because sincere love creates emotional consistency. A man whose feelings are genuine does not only become affectionate during physical intimacy and emotionally distant afterward. His care continues before, during, and after the moment itself. He wants you to feel emotionally safe, emotionally beautiful, emotionally valued, not only physically attractive. And that creates a completely different experience emotionally. Instead of feeling uncertain afterward, you feel calm. Instead of questioning his intentions, you feel emotionally reassured by his actions. There is comfort in knowing his connection to you goes beyond temporary desire because his affection shows up consistently in how he treats you overall. That is what separates genuine love from surface-level attraction. Survey-level desire often fades once the physical moment passes. But real love continues expressing itself emotionally, through kindness, through tenderness, through emotional presence, through the effort someone makes to remind you that your value extends far beyond physical appearance. And when a man truly loves you, intimacy often becomes more emotionally vulnerable too. He is not simply focused on taking something from you physically. He wants emotional closeness. He wants connection. He wants you to feel deeply appreciated and emotionally understood. That sincerity creates warmth that cannot be faked for long because genuine affection naturally reveals itself through consistent behavior. You begin feeling emotionally secure around him, not because he constantly says perfect words, but because his actions repeatedly make you feel cared for. He does not reduce your value to physical attraction alone. Instead, he reminds you through affection, attention, and emotional consistency that your presence matters to him deeply as a whole person. And perhaps that is what makes genuine love feel so different during intimacy. You are not left feeling emotionally empty afterward. You are not left questioning whether you were only wanted temporarily. Instead, you feel emotionally connected, appreciated, and respected because his actions continuously remind you that his feelings go deeper than physical desire. Because when a man's love is genuine, intimacy never makes you feel merely desired. It makes you feel emotionally cherished in a way that stays with you long after the moment itself ends. One of the clearest signs that a man's love is genuine during intimacy is the way he becomes emotionally vulnerable and open with you. Because real love softens people. It lowers emotional walls that are usually kept guarded from the rest of the world. And when a man truly trusts and loves someone deeply, intimacy often becomes one of the few moments where his emotional guard naturally comes down. You begin noticing a different side of him. Not just physical confidence or attraction, but emotional sincerity. There is softness in the way he touches you, speaks to you, and looks at you. His energy feels more honest, more emotionally present, because he is no longer focused only on maintaining control or appearing emotionally detached. Instead, he allows himself to connect with you on a deeper emotional level. That vulnerability matters, because many men are taught to hide emotions, suppress tenderness, or avoid appearing too emotionally open. They may carry pressure to stay guarded, composed, or emotionally distant, even when they care deeply. But genuine love changes that dynamic over time. Around someone they truly trust, emotional closeness starts feeling safe instead of threatening, and intimacy becomes one of the places where that emotional openness quietly reveals itself. You notice it in the way he relaxes emotionally around you, the way his affection feels natural instead of performative, the way he expresses tenderness without fear of looking weak. Sometimes it appears through words, sometimes through quiet moments of closeness, sometimes simply through the way he holds you afterward without rushing to emotionally disconnect. Because when feelings are real, emotional connection becomes just as important as physical attraction. A man who genuinely loves you often wants intimacy to feel emotionally meaningful, not empty or transactional. He wants to feel close to you emotionally. He wants trust between you. And because of that, he becomes more authentic during those moments instead of emotionally distant or emotionally unavailable. You can feel the honesty in his presence. There is less emotional performance and more sincerity, less ego and more connection. He becomes comfortable enough to express affection openly because genuine love creates emotional safety for both people involved. And when someone feels emotionally safe, vulnerability naturally grows. That emotional openness also strengthens trust because vulnerability creates deeper intimacy than physical attraction alone ever could. When a man allows you to see his softer emotions, his tenderness, his emotional attachment, it creates a bond that feels deeper and more secure. You no longer feel like you are only sharing a physical moment. You feel emotionally connected to someone who genuinely values your presence. And perhaps the most powerful part is that vulnerability creates consistency. A man who genuinely opens his heart to you emotionally during intimacy usually carries that emotional closeness outside those moments too. His affection does not suddenly disappear afterward. His care remains steady because the connection was real emotionally, not temporary or surface level. That consistency creates emotional peace. You stop feeling confused about where you stand because genuine vulnerability always reveals sincerity over time. You feel emotionally chosen, emotionally trusted, emotionally important. And those feelings matter because healthy intimacy should strengthen emotional security, not create uncertainty. Meanwhile, he also begins feeling more connected to you through that emotional openness. Genuine love often deepens when two people feel safe enough to be emotionally vulnerable with each other, without fear of judgment or rejection, because true intimacy is never only physical. It is emotional honesty, emotional trust, emotional closeness, and the willingness to let someone see the most unguarded parts of who you truly are. And when a man genuinely loves you, intimacy often becomes the moment where his heart speaks most clearly without needing to hide behind emotional walls anymore. One of the strongest signs that a man's love is genuine is what happens after intimacy is over. Because true emotional connection does not disappear the moment the physical experience ends. A man who genuinely cares about you does not suddenly become cold, distracted, emotionally distant, or disconnected afterward. Instead, his affection continues naturally because his feelings were never only about physical desire in the first place. And that difference is important because temporary attraction often focuses only on the moment itself. Once the excitement fades, emotional attention fades too. Communication changes. Energy changes. The warmth disappears quickly because there was little emotional depth holding the connection together beyond physical chemistry. But when love is real, emotional presence remains. You can feel it in the way he stays emotionally connected instead of emotionally checking out afterward. There is calmness in his energy, comfort in his presence. He does not rush to create distance or make you feel emotionally alone once intimacy ends. Instead, he continues treating you with tenderness, care, and emotional attentiveness. That consistency creates emotional safety because intimacy naturally involves vulnerability. You are emotionally open, physically close, and trusting someone with a deeper part of yourself. And when a man genuinely loves you, he understands that emotional closeness should not disappear once the physical moment passes. He wants you to continue feeling valued, respected, and emotionally secure afterward, too. You notice it in small things, the way he stays close to you, the way he talks to you calmly, the affection in his voice, the way he checks on your emotional comfort without making it feel forced. Those moments reveal emotional sincerity because they show he values connection, not just physical access. And perhaps the most powerful part is this. You never feel emotionally abandoned after intimacy. A man whose feelings are shallow may become distant once his physical desires are satisfied. But genuine love creates the opposite effect. Emotional closeness often deepens afterward because the physical moment strengthened the emotional bond instead of replacing it. That emotional presence matters deeply because people remember how someone made them feel after vulnerable moments. Genuine love leaves you feeling emotionally calm, emotionally wanted, emotionally safe. There is reassurance in knowing someone still sees your emotional value clearly after the physical experience is over. And when feelings are sincere, affection continues naturally outside intimate moments too. His care is not limited to physical closeness alone. He continues showing attention, kindness, emotional support, and consistency in everyday life. That is what separates real emotional attachment from temporary desire. Genuine love creates stable emotional behavior, not only passionate moments. You feel emotionally connected to him beyond attraction. There is friendship, respect, emotional warmth, a sense that he truly values your presence in his life overall. And because of that, intimacy feels meaningful instead of emotionally confusing. Meanwhile, his emotional consistency also builds trust over time. You stop questioning whether affection only appears when he wants something physically, because his care remains steady even when intimacy is not involved. That emotional reliability creates a stronger and healthier connection because you feel appreciated as a whole person, not reduced to physical attraction alone. And that is what genuine love always does. It extends beyond moments of passion and shows itself through emotional presence, consistency, and care long after the physical moment ends. Because when a man truly loves you, intimacy never feels like the end of connections. It feels like another way of strengthening the emotional closeness he genuinely wants to keep with you every single day. At the end of the day, genuine love always reveals itself through the way someone makes you feel emotionally, not just through moments of passion or attraction. Because real intimacy is not only about physical chemistry, it is about emotional safety, respect, trust, feeling that someone truly values your heart as much as your presence. And when a man's love is sincere, you can feel the difference deeply. You feel safe around him, not anxious, not emotionally confused, not constantly questioning his intentions after vulnerable moments together. Instead, there is calmness in the connection because his actions consistently show care, emotional maturity, and respect for you as a person. That emotional safety matters more than many people realize because physical attraction alone can create excitement temporarily, but excitement without emotional sincerity often leaves people feeling empty afterward. Genuine love creates something different. It leaves you feeling emotionally secure, emotionally appreciated, and emotionally connected long after intimacy ends. And you notice it in the way he treats you overall. A man who truly loves you does not only become affectionate during private moments and emotionally distant afterward. His respect remains consistent. His care remains visible. He listens to you, values your feelings, protects your comfort, and makes you feel emotionally important through everyday actions, not just romantic words. That consistency is what makes love feel real, because anyone can create temporary passion, but genuine love creates emotional stability. It creates trust. You begin feeling comfortable enough to be vulnerable because his behavior repeatedly shows sincerity instead of emotional unpredictability. And perhaps one of the biggest signs of authentic love is this. You never feel reduced to only physical attraction. You feel valued for your mind, your emotions, your energy, your presence, your personality. He genuinely enjoys being emotionally close to you, talking to you, understanding you, supporting you, and sharing life with you beyond physical moments alone. That deeper appreciation changes the entire emotional experience. Instead of feeling emotionally drained after intimacy, you feel emotionally fulfilled. Instead of questioning where you stand, you feel reassured by the consistency of his actions. There is peace in knowing his affection does not disappear once physical desire is satisfied, because real love creates emotional responsibility. A man whose feelings are genuine naturally becomes more careful with your emotions. He does not intentionally create confusion, emotional distance, or insecurity after moments of vulnerability. Instead, he tries to protect the connection because your emotional well-being matters to him sincerely. And that kind of emotional maturity is rare, especially in a world where many people confuse temporary attraction with genuine love. Real love is not only intensity, it is consistency, respect, emotional attentiveness, the willingness to make someone feel emotionally safe instead of emotionally uncertain. That is why your intuition often recognizes genuine love before your mind fully explains it. You feel calmer around someone whose affection is sincere. You feel respected instead of emotionally used. You feel emotionally connected instead of emotionally empty. And those feelings matter because healthy intimacy should strengthen your sense of emotional security, not damage it. Meanwhile, genuine love also creates emotional growth in both people. It encourages honesty, vulnerability, patience, and trust. It becomes a space where both people feel emotionally accepted instead of emotionally guarded. And through that emotional closeness, intimacy becomes more meaningful because it is rooted in real care, not temporary desire alone. Because when a man truly loves you, his actions never leave you wondering whether you were genuinely valued. They leave you feeling safe, respected, emotionally connected, and deeply cherished in ways that continue long after the moment itself has passed.